Hello ladies and gentlemen, these are some of the most interesting PCVR experiences I've had a chance to try, which are coming out later in 2023. The Burst. This is easily the most excited I've been about a VR title in a very long time, because it does something I've been longing for since forever. Arm swinger movement done right. I've said many times before that VR software should experiment more with making us move our arms to activate higher movement speeds. Not only is this immediately more immersive and gets our bodies ready for more physical actions like crouching, but would also act as a natural gameplay balancer, trading speed for the ability to attack. But sadly, most implementations have not been good enough to convince the audience. Until now. The Burst has some of the best integration of these mechanics I've experienced to date. You lightly swing your arms to sprint, and the same is done for jumping, needing you to time an arm swing with a button press. Both of these actions combining together intuitively and naturally, and feels amazing. The end result is when it starts to click, you, the player, naturally begin moving your arms and physically reacting in ways as if you were in the world. Exactly what we want to happen for an immersive VR experience. But at the end of the day, despite how well integrated these mechanics are, if they were the only thing going on, then it would just be another tech demo, of which we are all very tired of in VR by now. Luckily, the game package surrounding these features seem to be engaging and high quality. Excellent parkour mechanics, a world with its own distinct style, vehicles to drive, an actual story with a plot and characters who say swear words because they're cool and tough to push you forward, rather than just a tiresome short sandbox. I was left extremely impressed by the demo and felt elated to finally have a quality, innovation-pushing VR game which takes advantage of the medium, and isn't just a tech demo or a half-baked, shallow roguelike. There are a few rough spots in the demo that I hope can be ironed out before release. The game performed well most of the time, but in some areas had severe stuttering. The AI were quite dumb and robotic with stiff animations, and the gunplay, even though it worked okay, still felt lacking and unimpactful in moment-to-moment play. From the demo alone, I will absolutely be buying this on release, and am eagerly looking forward to what the full game has to offer. If you too are sick and tired of VR game design needing no more of you than to be a statue with occasional light wrist movement, and you want to actually use your body more meaningfully to play the game, then The Burst looks like what we've been waiting for. Bootstrap Island. Bootstrap Island is yet another VR roguelike. But before you scoff, this one seems to have a lot more going on than the usual stuff VR typically gets. The current public demo is extremely short, but everything that's there in the brief moments you have to interact with them were high quality and compelling. Noteworthy aspects are the quality visuals, the size of the island, and robust, satisfying grabbing interactions which rival Half-Life Alyx and Vertigo 2 in my opinion. There also seem to be well-crafted, detailed survival mechanics which uniquely leverage the precision and immersion of VR controls. The game aims towards realism with its interactions, and the detail of the physics seem to live up to that. Never has breaking and peeling the outer shell of a virtual coconut looked, felt, and sounded so satisfying and true to life. Even though it's a roguelike, the game feels intricate and complex, leaving a confident impression the full experience will be of a much higher standard than the competition. The presentation and execution of the interactivity alone was enough to sell me, despite the very short demo playtime. One of the demo's main strengths was simultaneously its weakness, however. The visual details come at a performance cost. I could run the game on my Valve Index at close to higher settings with a mostly stable 90Hz and minor supersampling thanks to having a beefy PC, but more moderate hardware will undoubtedly need to compromise to play this smoothly, unless some magical optimization happens. But even then, the visuals themselves are also a little cause for concern. The fidelity is excellent up close. The game relies on many fancy Unreal Engine render techniques, but these are techniques which were made first and foremost with flat screen in mind and translate poorly to VR, in my opinion. Graphical artifacts that are easily shrugged off on flat screen become egregious and eye-straining in VR. Temporal and checkerboarding level of detail effects on the foliage are big culprits here, morphing mere meters in front of you, which was extremely jarring for me. Dense layers of greenery at a distance also struggle to render correctly in stereo, giving my eyes great trouble deciding where and how to focus at times, which was genuinely uncomfortable, and I rarely suffer comfort issues in VR. Combine this with a very aliased or very blurry image in the headset due to anti-aliasing and upscaling techniques, which also translate very poorly to VR, unless you have a monster PC powerful enough to super-duper sample the image, then you're left with a resolve that for many could be eye strain and headache-inducing on most graphic settings. I don't necessarily blame the devs for the industry not having yet developed specialized methods for cleaning up VR image renders, and they've done an admirable job with what they have, but I do wonder whether certain artistic choices could have been made with the visuals to help alleviate these issues, rather than rely solely on the engine to do everything for them. Sorry to harp on about these technical details in a demo showcase, but should they remain as they are on release, then it will likely impact on your experience, and it's my job to be upfront and candid to lessen the chance you're disappointed by surprise performance issues if you choose to follow and trust in my recommendations. And it also serves as direct feedback for the devs prior to release, so maybe they have a higher chance of being able to do something about it. I give this feedback because I want the game to succeed, not fail, and I want as many people as possible to cleanly enjoy the quality experience they've crafted here. I think the game design alone can justify giving it a try, even if the graphic settings have to be lowered significantly on weaker PCs. And ideally, the devs can find a visual balance so all settings can still look cohesive and clean while retaining the atmosphere. I am completely burnt out on VR roguelites, but Bootstrap Island felt different. It's in a league of its own. If you appreciate tactile, robust, intricate and realistic feeling VR interactions that doesn't abstract like a flat-screen game inside of a setting that seems compelling and well-designed, then this should definitely be on your radar. Peaky Blinders: The King's Ransom. I went into this demo knowing nothing about Peaky Blinders whatsoever, beyond that it was maybe a TV show or something. What compelled me to try this was the weird name and the decent store page presentation. If you're an established VR user who is looking for interesting, detailed, interactive gameplay and combat, then based upon the demo here, I don't think this will be for you. It certainly isn't for me. So why am I recommending it then? Well, because it's not all about me and what I like. I couldn't help but admire how accomplished this demo felt. It ran like a dream on my PC and looked absolutely fine in the headset to boot. The game design seems to take joy in its status as a VR title, and squeezes in lots of little VR interactivity where it can, albeit surface-level interactions, but appreciated nonetheless, alongside having great artistic flair and a polished presentation. Peaky Blinders: The King's Ransom strikes me as an excellent introductory game for new adopters to VR. A linear design and constant novel little interactions which have since worn off on VR veterans, but are sure to delight newcomers transitioning from flat screen. The one combat section I played was what solidified my decision to not purchase. For me, it was a dull, hollow-feeling shooting gallery with robotic NPCs and wooden gunplay, which left me with the impression that trend would continue. At this stage, I personally need more gravitas from my interactions to be engaged enough. But for a newcomer, this level of simplicity would be just right for them, as they acclimate to the neglected future of interactive entertainment media. So if you fit into that category or know someone that does, then I think this will be an excellent choice. A relatively high production value, entry-level VR experience of good quality. Honourable mentions go to Liminal Phase. This retro, surrealist horror doesn't do anything special with VR controls, but it does feel well designed. Those of you who grew up through the 80s and 90s will find lots of nostalgic callbacks here. I didn't play through the demo properly during my live stream trying it out, and I was distracted by a conversation with my chat. But the overall presentation and feeling of this one is good, even though the horror aspect didn't scare me, though I am a very tough one to scare in general. Definitely worth a look if the footage behind my voice speaks to you. And that's it. Not many titles of interest this time round, but quality over quantity, eh? It's better than nothing or the usual mediocre jank we PCVR gamers keep enduring. Till next time.